All right, good morning, everybody. Joe Van Duren here, and welcome to our virtues pick for today. And we have a very appropriate word. And we'll discuss it here in just a few minutes. But our word today, the virtue that we're going to concentrate on, we'll kind of focus on today, is compassion. And so let's read the description of it first, and then we'll talk about how I'm thinking about it today and how it's affecting me today. And that the description goes like this: compassion is deep empathy for another who is suffering or living with misfortune. It is understanding and caring and a strong desire to ease their distress. Compassion flows freely from our hearts when we let go of judgments and seek to understand. Our compassionate presence helps people to know they are not alone. Sometimes they don't need us to fix anything. They only need to be heard with compassion so that they can connect to their own inner wisdom. We need our own compassion as much as others do, whether a silent prayer or a gentle touch. Compassion is a priceless gift. So, what a great word, and one that there's whole organizations, nonprofits that I know about that are dedicated to this idea of helping individuals or helping all of us to become more compassionate. But this morning, this is especially touching for me because I got word this morning that someone who was a teacher, who was a great person in helping others, took their own life, and they completed suicide. And as I was thinking about this morning, I was wondering, okay, what word is going to come up for us? And I shook my phone up as I always do, and the word compassion came up. So, our hearts go out to the families of those who have completed and have taken their own life. And I can just say that it's not something that we easily overcome, whether we knew the person or not. And in this case, I knew the person, but I knew this person from the idea that she was involved in suicide prevention. She was involved in mental health. She was involved in helping young girls to find their way in the world that we live today. And so compassion, it's not one of those things where we can, we're not going to fix things for everybody, but sometimes we don't need to fix anything. We only need to listen. And as I said to the person who informed me about this loss, I said, sometimes those that are helping the most, that putting themselves out the most, who are doing more than the usual amount of assistance to others, are the ones that are also hurting, and they're not showing it. And so I think for me, as I look at this word compassion today, I'm thinking about who is it that I know that that I should be reaching out to, that I should be touching base with. And not that I'm there to solve any problems for them, but as the description says, sometimes all it's needed is simply to be heard. And when we're heard, when we're able to speak and we feel like someone else understands us, then we are also able to connect with our own inner wisdom, our inner self, our inner being, the source of life within us. The thing that helps us to find the wisdom that we need to move forward. And sometimes it's just the listening that does this. It's knowing that someone is there, that cares about us, that is concerned about us, that's wanting to understand, not trying to fix anything, not trying to change us, not trying to tell us what we should do, because those things don't work. What does work is being there for someone. And I think also about all of those people that I know that are working so diligently to reach out to the general public and to those that may need the extra assistance, and to gain knowledge about this subject of how to prevent suicide. I think about all of those and how much they're giving, and I have to just say, it's most important that each one of us takes care of ourselves first. That we take care of ourselves first. You know, when you get on the plane and they tell you about the mask that drops down, it's always put yours on first and then help your child, right? And that's helped to develop that concept. Has helped to develop what I'm fast becoming a believer, that for us to bring out the best in our kids and to protect our kids in the best way possible, we must, as parents and as adults and as caring adults and as people who are influencers with our children and whoever is in our circle of influence, we must have personal development first. We must take care of ourselves first. We must have self-care. We must be gentle with ourselves. We must be willing to be compassionate with ourselves, to be present with ourselves, and to not only give help, but also to ask for help when we need it. And for some of us, and I've stated this in this broadcast before, for some of us, that's the hardest thing to do, is to ask for help. And, many times that's come from experiences in the past where we've asked and we've been made to, we have been shamed in some way or blamed in some way, or made to feel that, or we have felt because of the things said, we've felt that we weren't good enough or that we should know better or whatever. And when we use words like that and say things like that, especially to our children, but to adults too, we create an opportunity for them to really get down on themselves and not be able to have that compassion and the ability to ask for help. And I would just suggest that all of us need help at some time. We've all been the benefit of help at some time. And compassion is not only our ability to help others and our willingness to help others, but it's also our willingness to ask for help and be compassionate with ourselves. And so that's how I'm thinking about compassion today for myself. And as a parent, as we parent our children, as we're bringing them up and trying to help them to be successful and happy and safe and healthy, we have to remember that sometimes we don't need to fix things for them. Many times, most times, we don't need to, because they know already what they need. And our job is only to acknowledge and recognize them for who they are, for their uniqueness, for their abilities, for their talents, for their personalities and temperaments, and then to not only to acknowledge it, but to guide them and to correct them when necessary, using language of the virtues that will help them to find their own inner wisdom. And our children have it. And I just encourage all parents to think about their approach to their children in solving problems in a most compassionate way. So those are my thoughts today, and it's with heavy hearts that I do this virtue pick. But it's also just amazing to me how sometimes when we shake up the phone, the very thing that we need the most comes forth for us. And today I just feel like we need compassion for this family. We need compassion for all the families that are suffering in some way. And I would just suggest one more time that we have compassion for ourselves. And so it's with those thoughts then that we just ask you to consider today that compassionate feelings for others and those who are suffering. So thank you very much for being here today. Continue to practice compassion, practice the virtues and the 4 C's of successful families, and that is clarity, communication, consistency, and community. Until next time.